Hey guys, welcome back. DeFi, degens, Drip, and Farm for Property. I'm your host, Drip Coach, dropping knowledge bombs on all Forex Shark related projects. And today's video, we're getting into a requested video, highly requested over the last week or so, especially with the focus on the reservoir. So we are actually going to be talking about the pros and cons of Drip BUSD versus the reservoir, meaning which one is better for you. And that's kind of where the discussion starts because in order to actually dissect this, you need to determine what your actual goals are. And since the different comments I got had people with different goals, it was very hard for me to come up with an objective kind of viewpoint, right? Because if your goal is to see drip price appreciation, that's going to result in one play. If your goal is to diversify and get access to the farm, that's going to result in another play, right? So what I did instead is try to come up with just a pros and cons kind of sheet. And we're going to be evaluating different criteria. So criteria number one is going to be price appreciation. Number two, volatility. And in this case, we want a reduction of volatility. So volatility can be good or bad, but the way that I'm looking at it in this case is what reduces the volatility. Meaning if we see a spike to $10 in drip, do we see it drop all the way back down to $1 again? So which one will help us maintain a reduction in volatility and hold that new floor wherever we get to? Price support. Support in this reference is based on a price floor. So adding liquidity to a floor and kind of being able to hold that. Then we have sustainability. This is in regards to not just the price, but the project as well. So how well can it actually sustain itself over time? Then we're going to be looking at price stability, meaning once it has a price, can it actually just hold that stable price like a stable coin, right? You've seen volatility in stable coins, so therefore they are not stable. So that's another one. And then lastly, diversity. So the extra utility added to the token, right? Just a quick message, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss another video. This helps bring brand awareness to the channel as well as all Forex Shark related projects. Thank you. So these are going to be the areas we're exploring. And then of course, within these areas is your individual preference and goals that you set out for your investment journey. So I can't really say definitively this is the end all be all answer, but hopefully it'll help you understand a little bit better of how these two similar contracts work within the greater ecosystem. So first up, let's just review what this actually is. So over on the animal farm, you have Drip BUSD, where you can pair your Drip and BUSD together and then stake it here on the animal farm. And when you put it in, there will be a 1% tax, of which that will go back to buying drip from the faucet. And then it will in turn take that drip and add it to the tax vault, right? When you decide to, okay, before we go to the sell part, while you're in there, you're earning dogs, right? So that gives you some insight of how this Drip BUSD contract works. Once you are done using your Drip BUSD, and let's say you want to get out and you want to unpair your drip, you want to sell it or do something else with it, you're going to be hit with another 2% tax, and that does the exact same thing as 1%. So it will go to buying drip and placing it into the tax vault. And we have the Drip Liberation contract, which allows you to actually get this Drip and BUSD pair tax free. Now that is an important factor regarding some of the criteria that we're going to be covering, because it's different if you already have your drip, and it's also different if you are going to be selling or claiming drip from the faucet and then selling half of it to create the pair. So I'm not actually looking at those actions. I'm going to only be looking at the kind of fresh capital idea, because that's exactly where reservoir injections would come from. Typically people getting into the reservoir would have to put in fresh BNB. So we're going to assume the same case for Drip BUSD. Again, if you do it differently, then these kind of hypotheticals that I'm pitching or proposing will change. Next up, let's look at the reservoir so you can understand what that is. So this is a reservoir. Basically, the way this one works is you're putting in BNB and then you're being paid out BNB, but the BNB you put in, half of it is sold and used to, I wouldn't say it's sold, half of it is used to buy drip with, and then the drip you bought is then paired with the other half, and 3% of that gets locked permanently into the fountain contract, creating permanent locked liquidity, meaning it cannot be removed, can't be taken out. It is locked into the contract with a portion of the BNB you deposited. The rest of the BNB goes towards taxes and payouts, and then over time you are paid out in BNB dividends based on other participants getting in and out and the rewards vault. Basically, that's kind of a short synopsis. So let's look at first the comparison of drip price appreciation. So if your goal is to see the price of drip appreciate, then you're going to want to get into the Drip BUSD farm. Why is that? Because as I mentioned before, this is only if you're buying fresh drip. So if you're buying fresh drip, that means you're getting it from the drip liberation contract, getting it tax free. That therefore buys drip off of the market. Currently on Pancake Swap, we have 1.7 million that buys it off of there, and then it pairs it with BUSD. So anytime we can reduce the circulating supply of drip in either of the two contracts, that will long-term cause price appreciation. The fastest way would be to buy drip from the Faucet on your own. You're going to hit with tax this way, but this will cause more price appreciation if you buy drip from the Faucet here, and then if you had BUSD in your wallet and created the LP pair on your own, that will cause a 10% taxable event. But because you're buying it from the native DEX, it'll have a bigger price impact because this is actually where the supply is, or the price of drip is determined, right? I already showed you guys that in another video, so go back and watch that if you don't understand that. But number one way will be buying it here and pairing it with BUSD on your own, getting that taxable event. Number two is having no taxes and doing it organically here. It just takes longer for that to cause price appreciation, but that is a plus for the price appreciation category of the Drip BUSD farm, because the reservoir does not cause any price appreciation to the Drip token. It could if there was enough injected due to that 3% that is getting paired and locked, but it's not enough on its own. So we're going to give the award to Drip BUSD farm for price appreciation. Price volatility, meaning, like I mentioned before, which one of these two locations will help reduce the volatility in the drip price? Meaning, if we see a spike in drip, can we maintain that, or does it shoot up and drop right back down? Well, in that regard, we're looking at the Drip BUSD farm again, because as I showed you guys in this video, if you haven't seen it yet, not that one, this one, drip price floor. I showed you guys how we're moving liquidity into other areas being paired with Drip BUSD. And the more that we put there, the less volatile drip is, because we end up actually increasing the total overall liquidity pool. 1 million tokens is easier to manipulate than 4 million paired with Drip BUSD. And the more that we pair with BUSD, the more stable the price gets, the less volatile it is. So it won't see big price appreciation swings unless we get a massive bull run and a big FOMO in buying off of the reservoir, or buying off the Faucet. But it does create that reduction in volatility. So Drip BUSD does that because of the diverse locations paired with Drip BUSD. Next up, we're looking at price support. So which of these two support the price? And in this, what I mean is like the price floor, and that goes to the Drip Reservoir. The reason it goes to reservoir is because, again, 3% of that drip is actually locked and cannot be sold. Even though we can be adding drip to the BUSD farm, there's no price support because the taxes that are associated with this farm are minuscule and it's not locked. So once you get in, you're only locked for 4 hours. So if something happened where you needed to get out and sell, you can do that. And then the only taxable events is that 1% and 2%, which is like the lowest on any of the assets within the drip ecosystem. Even the pools are 2% in, 2% out. And this is the absolute lowest on anything. So this is not a deterrent to anyone. And when it's taxed, it actually only sends a small portion to the tax vault, which has nothing to do with price appreciation. So that's why I say price support goes to the drip reservoir, because it's the only one actually adding locked liquidity that supports an actual floor of drip. Next up, we are looking at price sustainability. Now, first, need to go to the definition of this, because sustainability and stability are very, very similar terms. So I'm using these definitions here. It comes from an environmental website, but it actually works really well. Sustainability means meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So it will be ensuring that we have a protocol that will be here long into the future without actually getting compromised, meaning losing the value, USDT value, because we already know the protocol itself is guaranteed to be here based on the mechanics that it's able to mint into perpetuity. But when I mean sustainability, I mean price sustainability, the value of your asset equivalent to USD. And stability, on the other hand, is the ability of a system to maintain its current state or return to its original state after being perturbed, right? So a sustainable system is one that can continue to function indefinitely without damaging or depleting its resources. So that means it can get hit, but it can bounce back, right? So when we're looking at sustainability, price sustainability, the USDT equivalent value or USD equivalent value, that again goes to the drip reservoir, because the actual tokens are locked into the contract, and that creates a permanent price floor. Remember, again, the BUSD farm, you can take those out and sell them, and they only go towards the tax vault, which doesn't do anything for the actual sustainability of the price USD value. Same goes for stability. That also goes to the drip reservoir for the exact same reasons, because it says, remember, it's looking at its ability to basically get hit and bounce back. If there is a significant pump in drip, or even sells, as we've seen, having a locked liquidity floor ensures stability for future generations, right? And so more and more people getting into the reservoir. Remember, all of these comparisons is about people putting in new capital, not just selling out of the system. This is all based on, if you had capital or the community was working together, what would have the most positive effect? And this would be, the stability would be for the reservoir. So if you put money into the reservoir, and we all did that collectively, then we ensure stability of the platform long into the future generations, or whatever the case may be. And last but not least, we have diversity or utility. So I already covered diversity extremely in another video regarding the different utility and diversity that Drip has. But when we're looking at these two farms, the diversity goes clearly to Drip BUSD, because in the reservoir, actually, now I'm thinking about that out loud, it might be a tie, right? Because utility in the Drip reservoir, you're getting paid out in BNB. And obviously BNB has more utility within the Binance Smart Chain, and the Drip BUSD utility is only functioning as a farming asset. So in real time, I'm going to actually change this. I'm going to lie. I'm going to say it's here. Because when I look at utility in regards to diversity, then clearly having BNB is a much better utility than just having the dog token. So the dog token is great for the ecosystem. So if we're looking at utility within the ecosystem, no, let's still go to BNB, because with BNB, you can now buy other assets. So yeah. All right, well, I thought it was going to be a tie, but literally while talking out loud, I changed my mind. So if you're looking for an objective decision on which of these are better for Drip in regards to these criteria that I evaluated, and with new fresh capital, especially right now, then I would have to give it to the reservoir. So ironically, I didn't see that coming. I thought it would be an even split, and I was going to say that it would come down to your personal preference and what you need to do. But this one, to me, takes the cake for the reservoir. You guys let me know what you think in the comments, and if I explain that well enough. But this is the criteria I used, and hope you understand where I got those criteria from. And if you have some other criteria, let me know. But that's just my take on it, hoping that it helped you guys understand the difference between the two. Clearly, it's really up to the investor at the end of the day what your goals are and how you want to see this. So you may evaluate it differently, like earning dogs right now is the ultimate play for you. So selling drip because you have a maxed out wallet to get dogs, then clearly you would want to get your drip BUSD. If you're just getting into the ecosystem, you're a small bag holder and you're trying to see some stability in drip because that's all you're invested in, then maybe the reservoir is your goal. But all in all, they kind of all work together, and we need to educate ourselves on this entire ecosystem. And that's hopefully the value I'm adding to you guys in my content. So if it did add any value, you guys know the drill. Smash that HPL special, help a brother out by liking, commenting, subscribing down below. Let me know your thoughts on this compare and contrast. And as always, lift daily and achieve your impossible. See ya.